perfect. Ha. Interesting. So sometimes it doesn't show our things. Huh. Alright, well, whatever.
You call this archaeology? Get out of there, Dad!
Well, we're live. I'm not sure it's playing the intro.
Although it may just be super behind.
It's not, because I heard you. We're up to speed now.
Oh,
so,
crap.
I mean, it's behind, but... so let's just say real quick for the podcast audience, welcome to episode 8 of You Call This Archaeology.
Yeah. Hello there, YouTube audience. Welcome to You Call This Archaeology. Wow. So, I guess we're going to have a lot of technical snafus today.
I guess so. We intended to play the intro here, but for some reason it didn't work. I'm not really sure what happened there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Okay. So anyway, I'll start
Yeah?
by saying I'm drinking coffee out of my APN mug, not the one that you can buy soon,
Oh,
but
true.
but soon. And I just wanted to give a quick plug because this is from Kinetic Coffee, spelled KINETICKOFFEE, all one word. It's from California, Arcata, California.
Oh,
And I guess this is my monthly delivery of coffee from the Roast Report.
What's that?
The Roast Report is a kind of a new thing here in Reno. Well, he's been around 6-7 months, I think.
Yeah.
And he basically does sustainable coffee deliveries.
Yeah.
Like he finds local roasters around the country
oh.
and then puts those in his monthly deliveries and donates proceeds to different organizations like the Tahoe Trail Organization
Yeah.
and some other stuff, for doing outside things.
Neat.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing there. Just want to give a quick shout out to them. And Richie's drinking pure fine water.
True. Wait, well, you already finished that stuff you got from, what is it, Old World Coffee?
Oh yeah, I mean that was like 2 weeks ago. Come on.
That's true. What'd you
Like-
think of it, by the way?
It was good. Their Kenya was a little fruity for me. I like it a little more earthy, but it was decent. Yeah,
Yeah.
Old World Coffee's a place here in Reno.
Oh my God. There's so many things going on this week. And I'm joking. Like, I just got a letter yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say from who. But, it was the tip. It was actually very nice because normally, for people who aren't very familiar with the way CRM works, like normally you just send off an email with your resume and it just disappears into the ether.
Yeah. Nobody responds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the people at this company were very nice, and it's like, I'm sorry, not all the projects we thought were going to come through would come through, and we're properly staffed for what work we did get, which I assume wasn't a lot. But call us back,
Nice.
in the later fall. So like, all right, fine by me.
That's good to know, and that's good to have.
Yeah.
It's nice to be thought of that way. Tell people because I don't know how many jobs I'd applied for back in the past where you're just waiting to hear,
Yeah,
and you don't hear anything.
yeah,
Which is kind of good sometimes because when you apply to like 3 or 4 places and you do get a call, like they're offering you a job.
true. Or alternatively, there's like some company you had forgotten you sent a resume to in desperation,
Yeah.
like one winter because of unemployment.
Right.
And suddenly they're like, give us, we have a position, come apply.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Like,
I
I
know.
literally got one last week from a company. It's like, we want to interview you, and their office is in LA, and I'm like,
That's too much of a commute for me. Yeah.
although when I first started working out of Reno, I was making the commute from LA to Reno.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, after every 8 day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, you had some weird kind of, like, off days, right?
Well, in reference to what specifically?
Oh, well, like when you first got to Reno and you didn't have a place to stay.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. We lived in a campsite in Lake Tahoe, which was kind of fantastic for a while. But Yeah, no, we when we first got to Reno
Yeah.
doing projects, our company was 8 on 6 off, and for that 6 off, we had to have a place to stay. So it was rough because it wasn't cheap. Like even camping up at Tahoe was like $35 a night. You
Really?
could get the Sands Hotel for less than that, but you're not camping.
And you're in the sands,
and you're in the Sands. So
which I feel like only people here would understand.
they should pay people to stay in the Sands, not the other way around. So,
It's like when everyone always talks about going, was it Mel's or Johnny Rockets or whatever's over there?
yeah, Mel's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are like, you have to repair yourself.
Yeah. Canonically. Yeah. So yeah.
Report writing?
Report writing. So I've been doing some more. God, I feel like I'm totally. We should do these podcasts on Monday almost to talk about the previous week because I'm all energized.
Oh.
But Friday comes around and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just. Even though I kind of work like every day of the week.
Yeah.
It's not a real Friday for me ever, but I just. I'm trying to finish up these 2 reports that I've been working on. Just like. Really, one of them we're just waiting on the BLM, but this other one,
Yeah.
I finally got most of the stuff written. Bill White actually did a blog post relatively recently on the use of boilerplate.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really saves your ass sometimes, but you got to do it responsibly. Like
Yeah.
I copy and pasted in my prehistoric section, and for Nevada, and it's mostly right. I just go in with the local references I found for that part of Nevada and see if
Yeah.
I can't insert anything that was, not part of the like statewide or Great
Yeah.
Basin wide boilerplate.
Yeah.
And then add that stuff in and maybe take out some other references that just don't apply because when you have a fully regional boilerplate, I might have some stuff in there that just doesn't make any sense for the region I'm working in, so
And yet, how many reports go out that way?
well, yeah. And whose fault is that really? Is it the fault of the people doing it? Of course it is ultimately, but the real problem is they often don't have the finances to spend the time on it that they need to. By the time the report's getting written, you're either real close to the budget or over budget.
True.
Your margins are pretty tight.
Mm.
But then again, we talk about blame. Of course that goes to the industry and the fact that not enough money is being spent on this.
Yeah.
We devalue ourselves, we undervalue ourselves.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think how to properly say this. On the other hand, people need to become more efficient at the same time.
True.
There's a lot of inefficiencies in the way that we work. And how many people have worked at a company that had a $500,000 project that just started, maybe hasn't even got off the ground yet,
Yeah.
and they're trying to finish up some other things, and there's no money left in that project, so you start billing to the new project. Because it's got all kinds of money.
Oh my God, it's almost like a Ponzi scheme.
Right? Dude, it's exactly like a Ponzi scheme. That's all archaeology projects are for some bigger companies. They're just a pyramid scheme, man. It's just like
Yeah.
you're using one to pay for the next.
Yeah,
and
that's
you just
like-
keep going. And then if you ever decide to go out of business, you're going to get sued by that last client.
Maybe. All they can
Yeah.
be just like a gold company and just go out of business.
Yeah.
Go bankrupt.
Wow. And change your name.
True.
Go back to Canada for a little while and come back. Yeah.
Oh my God, did you read Facebook today? Did you read Bill White's new post?
I saw it, but I did not read it. It was I know the title was something to the effect of is it okay for companies to withhold salaries in job postings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's not at all. I mean, this is why when I was part of PCS, now defunct PCS, and I hope to resurrect this facet of PCS that we were doing, the only thing we actually brought in money on. I hope to resurrect this later when I have the time
Yeah?
and the energy to devote to promotion of it. And this is where it failed at PCS because we couldn't promote it. No, we had people
Yeah.
that were supposed to be doing it, but they didn't do anything with it, which is ultimately why we ended up failing. But
Really?
yeah, but I don't really want to get into that because that would just be slandering people. I'm not going to do that.
Yay.
But anyway, and I'm going to turn my Do Not Disturb on here because my Civil Air Patrol Squadron is having a massive exercise right now, and I'm not there.
Oh, wait, there we go.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there we go. The graphics should be coming any second.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, so
Ooh.
what we had with PCS, we had these job posts that were
Yeah?
this job posting service, I guess. We were charging for it because we curated it. I'm not sure why any of that's not coming. I hear you saying it now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It'll
I
happen.
hear we were trying to promote to businesses and things like that to use
Yeah.
our job posting service, and the reason we were trying to get them to do it is because we figured the more field techs that came on board with seeing job posts in this format
Yeah.
would hopefully stand up for themselves and go to an employer and say, hey, you should use these guys because we like the way they post jobs.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything really wrong with Shovel Bums. It's just that Shovel Bums has been doing things the same way for a really long time.
A bazillion years.
Yeah, and I think something needs to change, but I'm not sure,
Although
I'm not sure Arjo wants to change it.
that's why you should have read Bill Waite's article. He's actually talking about laying out the reasons why you should why companies don't list pay.
I should have read that because
Yeah.
I'm interested in that. Because let me
Yeah.
tell you real quick. Did you read it?
Yeah.
So you tell me that in a second here. I'll tell you what we were doing.
Yeah.
We had a form for people to fill out, and all the fields were required. So you weren't allowed to put pay as commensurate with experience. I hate that phrase more than
Yeah.
any phrase in the entire world.
Yeah.
Because somebody new to the region or new to the state might not know what that means. What is
See?
that? What is it? What is even the range? We required a range, and on our form when we
Yeah.
listed out job posts,
Yeah.
we would list things out in order of how field techs want to see them. When you
Yeah.
look at a Shovel Bumps job post, often you'll find all this information about how the company's an equal opportunity employer, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Sure, that's great. I mean, it's illegal for them not to be, so I don't think
True.
why I have to put it in the post. But
Yeah.
nobody's going to say we're an unequal opportunity employer. We only hire the people we like, although that's actually true. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
the post started with the type of job. Is it a field tech, crew chief, whatever?
Yeah.
Where the job is, how much the pay is, what the per diem is, when your per diem is paid. Is it paid with your paycheck? Is it off cycle? Is it in cash at the beginning of the session? Is it a
Yay.
check? Do you need receipts?
Boo.
Stuff like that. I know. And then, detailed information about the jobs, because they always start to type
Yeah.
up a paragraph, say, must lift 50 pounds, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And then at the bottom, there's information about the company. Like any blurb that they wanted to put in, they could still do that. And we had a 24-hour turnaround. So when somebody submitted a job, we would look at the posting.
Yeah.
If there were any issues with it, we would send it back and say, you got to correct this, this, and this.
Interesting.
And if they didn't want to do that, or they couldn't do it within 24 hours, we simply
Yeah.
refunded their money and let them do it again.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
What's the turnaround for archaeology fieldwork and Shovel Bumps?
It's almost instantaneous because it's not curated.
Oh.
So when somebody submits, it just gets thrown up on the website.
Wow.
Yeah. So there might be some formatting going on just
Yeah.
to make it so it fits.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's not curated. So
Interesting.
they can put anything up. I'm sure they're read by by Arjo and Jennifer to see if they're some
Yeah.
kind of slanderous BS or Trump supporters or something like that. I mean,
Oh, and more importantly, shout out to Jennifer because she does that for free, and she still has to pay taxes on it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I bet that's why she has an Amazon link.
Yeah.
Am I
probably.
wrong? So don't forget to go through Amazon to her website.
That's right. That's right. Archaeologyfieldwork.com.
That's kind of crazy that you do that for free, and you'd actually
Well,
pay money.
She just wants this stuff out there, I guess. So what were some of the reasons that Bill said it's okay not to put pay in there?
Well, he actually, it's a very long article, but let me paint you a scenario. I once was going to do this job in Utah, or for a company in Utah, and they put pay is commensurate with experience, and they wouldn't tell me over the phone what it was.
Right.
And so I get all the way there, and I'm signing the paperwork, and at the very last second, they're like, pay is $13 an hour for a job in Nevada, and you guys were over in Battle Mountain doing another project. You guys were on that project. I forget what it was. Like the one right before you found the ice cream truck.
Right. I can't remember.
But anyway, and so his theory is that they don't put pay as commensurate with expense. They put pay as commensurate with experience. That way they can just spring it on you and see who goes for it. And that way they can get the cheapest field techs possible.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a real. I don't know. I'd have to read the article honestly to have an opinion on it. But I never default to assuming that companies are trying to screw people.
True.
I know that people think that's happening, but in reality, companies are run by people who used to be in your shoes. Sometimes they're not, but most
True.
of the time they are. And I think that I think that most companies are honestly just trying to survive, and this isn't a good thing, and it's no excuse for field techs. It's up to field. We live in a market economy,
True.
and the way for field techs to have a voice is to simply not work for that company. But the thing
Yeah.
is, we all need money.
True.
So if you're down on your luck and you're poor and you're living in your car,
True.
and somebody comes along and says, "We want you to work in Nevada for $12 an hour," well, it's better than $0 an hour.
Sometimes.
And some people are going to take that. I know, but that's the unfortunate circumstance that we're in, and I don't know how to fix that problem.
It's interesting. There's actually I ran into someone last week at the bookstore who was working on a project, and I remember working with him years ago. But anyway, he's still a student. I think he's still working towards his master's degree. And he's like, "Yeah, I should come work for this company, a company which I will never submit a resume to." He's like, "Yeah, like they hired a whole bunch of us students. Like it's pretty much a whole crew full of students." And I'm like, "Oh, I can imagine how much they're paying you."
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it's like as long as I've known this company, they hire like some real shovel bums, but then mostly like 75% of their crew is like students who they pay like nothing.
Yeah.
In fact, they're one of those companies. I'm not going to slander their name by saying them, but they're one of those companies that quote unquote hires people permanently. That way, they can pay you like $13 an hour and make you work forever.
Yeah. Salary.
Yeah, because I know several companies across the country that do that. They hire people permanently.
Right. Right.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's frustrating. The whole system is frustrating from every angle. You know, people just want to do archaeology. They want to do good work. Very few people in all facets of this are doing it because they want to make $1 million.
True.
You know, if any, I think it's sad on both ends. If I hear a story from somebody where they say they were screwed by this company because they were doing this, this, and this, that's sad to me on all levels because the field crews were getting screwed, but the company was barely surviving. They're not driving Bentleys over there.
True.
You know, they're not having gold-plated cutlery delivered at their catered parties.
True.
You know, if they're doing that and they're screwing over their field techs, then there's an issue. And I heard of one company, and it might just be the owner, and maybe he had other investments. You never know what somebody's personal financial situation is.
Yeah.
But you know, the owner rolled up on this project where they were paying people like stellar prices for the Southwest, but he rolled up on this project in like an $80,000 car.
Really?
Just to check things out. He wasn't there to work, obviously. He was there to just see.
Yeah.
He was the owner, like the Uber owner of the company. And he just rolls up in this fancy car and a fancy clothes, and you know, I must, as the story was told to me, he looked like he just stepped out of an REI with his clothes. You know what that look is?
Yeah.
And that's even if, and that's just not knowing how to read your people too. You know, like if I was running an archaeology company, I am running an archaeology company. If I'm running an archaeology company and I make some outside plans, I've always got 10 things going on.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say I'm running dig tech.
Yeah.
And I'm running projects, and I'm running the ragged edge of finances like everybody else is, which every project I've done, I mean, I haven't had a windfall on it.
Huh.
So, but if I'm doing that, and then I've got 2 other companies running on the side, which right now they're not separate companies, but they're part of dig tech, but eventually they will be separate companies. Well, if there's 2 separate companies, like the Archaeology Podcast Network is one of them.
Oh.
If the Archaeology Podcast Network becomes a separate company, and then becomes more financially sustainable than dig tech,
ooh,
that's still money coming in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I'm diversifying. Dig tech might not be making much money because it's a CRM firm.
Yeah.
How much money can you make? But the podcast network could be making more money, and this other training thing could be making more money.
Yeah.
And then I roll up on the site with my Tesla, and people think I'm taking their money and putting it into my Tesla, but it's really my diversification and my other companies. There's nothing stopping people from learning proper financial responsibility. The information's out there if you want to know it. And if you're planning on putting all your eggs in the CRM basket, that's where your first problem is.
See?
Unless you're okay with that.
Yeah.
You need to understand what that means if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
You can't say, I devoted my life to CRM and I have, you know, and I'm on food stamps. Like, that's just kind of part of the game sometimes.
It
is. You
is.
know what I mean? I hate to say that, but and it sucks. And I want to change it. But right now, the current situation, that's how it is. You don't have a CRM job right now. So what are you doing? You're working at the bookstore.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to work.
Yeah.
You know, it's not it's not a step down. It's a lateral maneuver until that other archaeology job comes along.
Plus, that's
you know?
also something I always wanted to do.
Well, absolutely. And you know how hard it was for me to, instead of starting a company, to just work at a coffee shop? Because that's what I've always wanted to do.
See? I also wanted to work at a coffee shop, but no one here in town would hire me.
Well, and we talked about that last time, I think.
Yeah.
But I want to work at I would love to work at a bookstore or coffee shop.
Ooh,
You know, there's just not that many of those that aren't
No.
Barnes & Noble.
that's true.
Yeah.
Especially here in this town.
Are there any?
No.
Yeah, there's none, are there? Mm-mm. Yeah, Barnes & Noble's the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Although-
that doesn't really count.
I mean, there's always Sundance, but they're right across the street from Old World Coffee. So why would you go?
Does
to
Sundance have coffee?
No,
Well, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
but I mean, why would they start their own cafe if you could just walk across the street and get some of the best coffee in town?
Well, and I can honestly see some of the reasons behind that too. Like, I already know that if I had a good coffee shop
Yeah.
inside of a good bookstore, that
Oh.
I would simply go buy a coffee, grab a book off the shelf,
See?
read it, put the book back on the shelf, and walk right out when my coffee's done.
See?
I might even dog ear it and put it behind other books.
Oh my God!
I'm
But,
a dick.
but speaking of owners, I was on the Ruby pipeline for a company, and I remember the president of the company. He would show up on the project, and he had a super, super, super old Ford pickup truck, and he would sleep in the back of it. And this is like the president of the company.
Yeah.
And more importantly, he was that dude who would go and check on the crews, but he would park his truck at one of the crew's work sites and then walk the rest of the way. He was like
Nice.
badass,
Nice.
like really badass.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and he was like super old, but he was like dragging like these young college students up and down the hills.
That's that's how it goes. I'm trying to share just in case anybody comes here right now.
Yeah?
Where is?
Oh, neat! You can do that.
Yeah, apparently.
Cool. Wait, we didn't do that.
No, I'm sharing this live broadcast.
Wow, the one that's the most buggy. I was about when I first today I was envisioning we'd get here and say, "Welcome to the final finished version 1.0."
We don't even have graphics. What happened?
I don't know. The only way I'd be able to do it maybe is restarting it.
We're not going to do that.
I know.
Yeah.
Although it is recording with the graphics.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, perhaps we shouldn't be discussing this in the air, but I do have a spare computer case at home, and I was thinking about, not at home, but in my storage unit, I was thinking building a small desktop and just leaving it in here. That way, I don't have to drag this thing back and forth.
Yeah, it's a true story.
Yeah.
Well, we're at about a break, so
Ooh.
I want to talk about stickers again.
Yay.
There's a couple APN stickers back there if you want to grab those. But
There are? Oh, man,
I
you should bring the whole set, though.
I know, I was going to and I forgot. But I want to show something exciting
Yeah.
because I needed a way to ship the stickers. So when you
Yeah.
buy one sticker, it's $3.
Yeah?
You now get an added bonus rather than just the sticker. Because I didn't want to ship them in like a reinforced envelope or something like that because that's
Yeah.
just more waste that you have to throw away.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ship them in like a thank you card. But I didn't want this to just be a card. I don't even send birthday cards, and I don't.
You don't?
I hate receiving them too because I look at
Oh.
them, I go, "That's nice," and I throw it in the trash.
You do that for Christmas cards, too?
I do. I hate them.
Really?
Yeah, they go straight in the trash. So send me a Christmas card if you want to help me fill up my recycling for December. But anyway, I wanted to send something that was functional, so I got these cards,
Yeah?
and I can see it on the screen there. So you open it up, and that's probably going to be backwards text.
Yeah.
But basically it says, "Thank you for supporting the Archaeology Podcast Network, education, and public outreach." Has their number. But then you can rip this top part off, and on the back, I just put some information. And I don't
Yeah.
know how you can see that with the light, but it's got a
Eh.
inches and metric scale on it. It's got like a 1x1 meter with
Yeah.
the cross section on there, like
Yeah.
the diagonal measurement, 1.414. It's got a whole section grid on here for people that work out in the West, so you can tell how the numbers are oriented and how they go.
Oh, township and range.
Township and range, yep. Wow, I just had a heart attack thinking I did it wrong. But it's right. And then it tells you that it's 640 acres per square, 1
Yeah.
by 1 mile squares. And yeah, just a little bit of handy information. So if you order, hell, if you want one of these, just let me know. I'll send you one. But
Neat.
if you order a sticker or any number of stickers, you'll get them in this thing, and you can take that out into the field with you. And if you're in the southeast, it will be destroyed immediately because it
True.
is paper.
Unless
So-
you laminate it.
You could laminate it. I guess you could. And it comes in this. I even had the envelopes monogrammed with ArcPodNet and our address. So that's it for
Ooh.
that plug. Just
Uh-huh.
get your sticker orders in, and I'll since I have that now,
Yeah.
and I have all the stickers, we can ship them out immediately. So you probably have them within a few days.
Neat.
Yeah. So
Aha.
all right.
And
What's next? What's next up on the plate here?
Oh, once again, tell the 2 viewers we have. Sorry about the technical snafus. Normally our graphics are up on the screen, but not today. Even though I can see them. Even though I can see them over here
Yeah.
on my control screen. So whatever.
I have a personally, just not to get again too technical this,
Yeah.
but I have a feeling that the stream key didn't work with all the switching around, and I think we're streaming from Facebook and not from here.
You
That's
think
what
so?
I think is happening.
Interesting. Well,
So-
it's definitely streaming.
It's definitely streaming, but like I said, I don't think it's actually streaming from here. I don't think that worked.
Interesting.
So unless there's 2 streams going on, and I picked up the other one.
Maybe?
Yeah, I don't think so. But
It
who
might
knows?
be because we're dropping a whole bunch of frames.
Yeah.
Although, thankfully, your computer isn't working as hard today as normal.
No, that's good.
It's only working at 50%.
Yeah.
So at least some of the changes I did worked.
There you go.
But still.
So we can talk a little more about archaeology this week, because I did a great interview this morning.
Really?
For the archaeology show. It was
Ooh.
an interview with Tom King.
Oh,
Who-
yay, finally.
I know, who serum archaeologists know. I know we had our own technical difficulties, but we got it working. And
Yeah?
we talked about, he's the senior archaeologist for the last 25 years for the Tigar project, which is, I can't remember what that stands for, but historic aircraft recovery is what they do. And
Oh.
Chuck Hutchinson, thanks for joining us, man. Hope
Yeah.
you stick around.
Yeah.
But he's over in California.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Anyway, so Tom, we talked to him about the latest expedition to Nicomaroro Island
Yeah.
in Kiribati to
Yeah.
excavate and find more evidence of the disappearance of Amelia Earhart. So,
Oh, right.
yeah, that was really cool. They brought dogs out for the first time to find and verify the location of some bones that were found a long time ago. Yeah, I think it's streaming from there.
Yeah, whatever.
And see how all that was going. Just don't
Yeah.
hit finish.
I know.
Yeah. So anyway, that was really cool. That episode
Yeah.
will be out 2 weeks from tomorrow as you're
Ooh.
watching this on the live stream. So today's the 11th, tomorrow's the 12th, so the 24th, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that's 12th. The 26th. I don't know. 2 weeks from near the end of August, it will be
Yeah.
out on a Saturday.
Ooh, I'll probably be editing that tonight. I'm not even joking.
It's ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the Archaeology Show, episode 23, I want to say, because
Yeah.
22 comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. It was a really good interview. We talked about some stuff that really surprised me too.
Really? Like what?
Well, like the fact that I didn't know it was relatively common thinking amongst the researchers for Amelia Earhart, but they think that they landed safely on that island. And I was
Oh.
like, landed where? In a Lockheed Electra? They landed. There's no runway. It's like,
Yeah.
where did they land? And he said, when the tide goes out, it's like a super tide. When it goes out,
Yeah.
it goes out a long ways. And apparently there's this massive coral reef that's smooth that you can land on. Well, maybe it's
Oh.
not coral reef. I think it's coral, but it's either way, it's smoothish, and you can land on it. And if you're good enough, and she was good enough. I mean, she
Yeah.
was an amazing pilot.
Yeah.
And so the thinking is they landed on it, and part of the reasoning behind that thinking is
They never found the plane.
What's that?
They never found the plane?
Well, they never found the plane, but that's not too uncommon if something crashes in the ocean. I mean, it's
Yeah.
super deep out there and it's expensive.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they think that they landed because after the Navy lost contact with them, they sent over 100 more transmissions. Now, it was all bad weather and things were going on, and I don't think those transmissions were intelligible. They knew they were coming from Fred Noonan and Amelia Earhart, but they couldn't tell what they were. And the only way those transmissions could have happened is if they were able to continue cranking the prop and turn the airplane on and get power to the radio and send those transmissions out once they were down.
Ooh.
And the only way they could do that is if they didn't crash. So
Ah.
not crashing means landing.
Yeah.
so they landed, and Jessica Huddleston's on. She's right here in Reno.
Yay. Hey, Jess.
So anyway, the theory is that they probably got some stuff out of the plane. They were probably trying to figure out what they were going to do. They probably didn't think it was the worst situation in the world until the tide came in. And when the tide came in, it likely floated the plane and then churned it up in the surf there, destroyed it into little pieces. And then not too far out from that reef, it drops 7,000 meters because they're basically, that island is the tip of a volcano.
Yeah.
So
That's
it just
cool.
like they're on the side of a mountain.
Oh.
Jessica says hi.
Yeah.
Hey, Jess.
Hello again.
So anyway,
Yeah.
it should be a really good podcast. The Archaeology Show, episode 23. Like I said, out in 2 weeks if you're listening to this live on Friday.
Oh, by the way, convince Jess to get an iPhone.
Jess, get an iPhone. There's no question. And wait for the 8. Wait for the 8. That should be like a hashtag that Apple should start because it almost rhymes.
Oh
Wait
my
for the
God. So they'll finally be caught up and be bezel-less, just like all the Android manufacturers.
8. Well, we'll see. It'll be a better phone either way. But anybody thinking about that, since I am typically seen as the resident like iPhone or Apple expert, even though I'm not compared to some other people.
Yeah?
If you are thinking about a new phone, especially a new
Yeah?
Apple phone, a new iPhone, don't do it now. I don't
No.
care if your contract's up. You know, if your 2 months is up or your 2 years or whatever,
Yeah.
wait, because they should be making the announcement sometime in September. We probably won't know until later. It's usually sometime around the beginning of
She's
September.
already waiting.
It's usually sometime around the beginning of September. Because the pre-order time for the new iPhone is almost always when I'm at the air races. And the air races this year is from the 13th to the 17th. So my guess is the of September, the Friday, the 17th, 16th, 15th.
Yeah?
And it's almost always on a Friday for pre-order. So my guess is Thursday night at midnight, again, I'll be up at midnight hitting click, 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 click on the AT&T website doing my pre-order for my iPhone 8, which probably won't be available until October.
By the way, have you seen some of the mock-ups people have done?
I have, yeah. It's
It's crazy. The screen is simultaneously bigger, but because it's now finally bezel-less after like years,
it's about the same size.
yeah, it's smaller.
Yeah, it's actually a little smaller, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. But a bigger screen, like you said.
Oh my God! So it'll be finally caught up with Samsung and the S8.
Well, and this is the reason that I think they're probably going to do away with the iPad Mini because this is the iPhone 7 Plus, and if I get even more real estate on this, although I don't know what a bezel-less screen is going to do for me with a case on it for field work, I don't know how that's going to work.
Oh, maybe that's one of the reasons they're doing it. That way they can go, OtterBox, go away.
Yeah, maybe.
You have to buy this special Apple branded thing.
This is waterproof. I dropped this in. I put this in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
You know, I actually had it in my pocket for a little while before I realized when I was doing laps.
Ooh, so just like some of the Samsung phones.
Yeah. So you would think the 8's going to be waterproof as well, so you won't need as good of a case on it. Now you can't like leave it underwater for 30 minutes, but you can get it underwater and pull it back out. Hey Chuck, thanks. Anyway, I think in the iPad Mini, this fall will be 2 years since it was refreshed. So there hasn't been a new iPad Mini for 2 years because I know the 4 came out in 2015 in the fall.
It's interesting the way electronics are going, by the way, because I still have the my original iPad 1, which is someone gave to me for free, and I was looking for a replacement. I was looking at the tablets, but the tablets, Android doesn't update them enough.
Yeah.
Like the manufacturers don't update their equipment enough. And Chromebooks now can download Android apps.
Oh yeah.
So I assume that Chromebook OS is basically that's just going to be their new tablet.
Nice.
Because the one I'm looking at is not that much more expensive than a tablet I was looking at, and it folds over.
Right.
So I mean, I'd rather have a 2-in-1, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. And Jess says dustproof, and then winning.
Especially around here.
I know, and I think it's good because waterproof implies dustproof because water is more permeable than dust, of course. So if it's waterproof, you get back from the field.
Yeah.
I've just taken my phone and rinsed it under the faucet before.
Really?
You know? Yeah, just dry it off because it's not going to hurt it. So, and that's great. I love it. And I haven't. This is the first iPhone I've had that I didn't have a rugged case surrounding the whole thing. Now, this is a Pelican case.
Yeah, but it's like their mid-level, not so awesome
series. I don't
series.
even know if it's mid. I mean, it comes right off. But it's really just to prevent shock. I mean, because if you drop it on the ground, you still risk cracking the screen if you hit it right. I mean, although the glass is really good these days.
Yeah.
But I just don't want it banged up. I mean, it's a pretty phone.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want it all banged up. So, and I got a really good case too from Nomad. That's like a carbon fiber kind of design on the background.
Oh, some more life-proof cases.
Yeah. It's been a while since I actually bought a life-proof or OtterBox case because of this. So
yeah. And take a look at this phone, which I got a million years ago.
Yeah, that's an old phone.
I know, you're telling me. It was old when I got it.
Nice.
And
nice.
and Verizon keeps telling me I need to upgrade. But I'm like, I don't really see a phone that I'm tempted by yet.
Right.
Plus, Verizon doesn't really sell the phones I want. But before we get too far off track, I was actually really curious to know, how did things go when you went to the air races thing yesterday?
The air races thing?
Yeah, for the air booth.
Oh. So we do a food booth at the Reno Air Races and the Civil Air Patrol. We have breakfast and lunch. So if you manage to be in Reno and you pay $1,000 for your ticket, it's not quite that much, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you manage to get to the pits, come, I'll make you a burrito, a breakfast burrito, or a cheeseburger. Yeah,
Ooh.
so that's what we have. But anyway, because we have food, we have to get a Washoe County health permit, a temporary food permit.
Yeah.
And I went in there, and I swear to God, I was telling Richie, I was like, it's like the dregs of humanity in the Washoe County administration buildings, and then like everybody is just sad about their lives and about just being there.
Yeah.
And then the employees are equally bitchy and just sad. And like I go in,
Yeah.
and there's a receptionist, and then there's counters in the back and the like little booths that you can go in, and the woman sitting there says, "Sign in, and we'll get with you as soon as we can." There's literally nobody else in front of me. Like there's nobody else even in there.
Yeah.
Sign. I was sitting there 5-6 minutes before somebody else sitting at one of the desks is like, "Have you been helped?" I mean, we're all standing within like 10 feet of each other. Like she knows I haven't been helped, and she's like, I'm like, no. And the woman behind the counter was like, "Oh, I thought he was here for a meeting." I was like, "I signed in and it says food permit." Like I said that. And she's like, "Oh, well then just come on back to this booth here." I was like, just get me out of here. And then I go sit down at the thing, and they've got these weird desks where I've got like 3 feet in front of me, and then it's like another 8 feet to her. I can barely reach her to hand her like my credit card. And she didn't say anything to me. She just grabbed my application, and apparently they have to take this application that you can't do by email and then type it into the computer. Like she typed in the whole thing into the computer. And and in the meantime, she's the woman in the cubicle next to her. There's like these glass dividers, but they're very low, so they can talk.
Yeah.
The woman in the cubicle next to her is dealing with somebody on the phone, and they're talking back and forth because this woman I'm dealing with is apparently her supervisor.
Oh.
So the woman on the phone is like, "So should he do this?" And the woman's like, "Well, tell him to do this." And I'm sitting there just like dealing with emails on my phone, just like dealing with this, and I'm not even paying attention because she's not paying attention to me. She hasn't even said hi. I just sat down, handed her the paper, and she goes to work.
Yeah.
And then she starts talking and asking me questions, and I kind of knew she was talking to me, but I just kept on with my emails. And she's like, "Sir," and I was like, "Oh, are you talking to me?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Yes," and I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." But anyway, it was that place is a nightmare, and it cost me $256 for that food permit for a 5-day event. Yeah, it used to be $25 for nonprofits, and then July 1st last year they took away nonprofit support.
Why?
And it went, I don't know, because they said voters voted on it. They had a resolution in the thing to raise prices.
They did?
And apparently people voted on it, which I don't buy for a second. But probably one of those things where it's earmarked. It was attached to another thing.
Well, I was thinking about that.
Yeah. So
maybe it's like, here, allow food trucks to go in the Reno now.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, they have two categories that they had a multi-phasal, if that's a word, pricing structure rollout, right? So last year they raised the prices and got rid of nonprofits, and then this year they raised the prices a little higher. So now it's $256, but it's $150 or something like that if you're low risk. If you're high risk, it's $250. And I was like, "So what risk are we?" And she looks at my thing and she goes, "Oh, you're high risk." And I was like, "Is anyone low risk? Like, what do you have to do to be low risk?" And she's like, "Well, let me see here." She's like, "Bacon, that's high risk." And I was like, "Bacon's high risk?" I was like, "It's high risk for us not to have bacon at the air races." People don't get their bacon. That's high risk.
Oh, I would have liked that list, actually.
Oh, my God.
Should have had it printed out.
Oh, my God. So it was all meat. Basically, if you have meat, you're high risk. That's what that amounted to. So anybody that sells burgers has bacon. I mean, we don't even I guess we cook raw bacon, but the rest of it's like bacon bits that we get. It's like that pre-cooked stuff. We get it from Cisco.
Yeah.
We toss that into the eggs, and we toss these little sausage bits into the eggs. All that's pre-cooked. And the only thing we cook that's raw is like the actual slab bacon, that we put on the burgers, and then the cheeseburgers themselves. So,
see, now you're just making me hungry.
I know, right? Now I want a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
So,
do you put grilled onions in there?
No, we don't do it because most people we have like fresh onions that go on there, but we don't grill them because it's just we don't have the infrastructure for that. We don't. We have a small volunteer group of people, and
Yeah.
it's hard enough just to keep up with orders. In 5 days last year, we did $18,000 in business.
Wow.
Yeah, so we get to keep about 8 or 9 of that. That's because the rest of it's cost,
Yeah.
because we pay a lot in the food prices and stuff, and
Yeah.
it costs about $1,000 just to be there. So for
Ah.
like booth costs and stuff.
Yeah.
But we it's our major fundraiser throughout the year, so we do pretty well on it.
Cool.
But anyway,
Oh
so,
my God! Did you do any more hanging out with that dude with the with the little drone racer?
No. So this guy came over to the Reno Collective here.
Yeah.
Was that yesterday or the day before?
It was whenever it was raining.
Yeah, I don't know what day it was. It's rained a few times this week, I think.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. So this guy came over and he had these little micro drone with it was the first time I've ever looked at first person point of view drone footage through a thing. And I
Yeah.
put on the 3D thing, or I guess the glasses.
Yeah.
And it's total immersive. So, because Richie did it too.
Yeah.
And you can't see anything. And then he was flying the drone. That was really disorienting. Seeing myself sitting there on a wall, it was like I had an out-of-body experience. It was really crazy. Like I'm floating around. And then when he, I don't know what he did with you, and then he, I
Yeah.
don't think he was flying it with you, was he? Yeah. And then he would catch the drone in his hand, and you could see his little fingers up there.
Yeah.
And it was like his fingers were holding my head in his hand because they came out from underneath my face. And I could see them, and it was really
Ooh.
crazy.
Wait, is that something you can add to your drone?
Kind of, because you can do first-person view on the camera, and when I've got the DJI Inspire Pro, and you can see the camera view,
Yeah.
and you can change it to point of view, so
Yeah.
it doesn't shift like wherever the drone is. The thing is,
Yeah.
because most of the time it's got that like smooth thing. Like if I turn real sharp with the drone, the camera lags behind, so it's a smooth move, right? But you can change it so it's locked right in with point of view on the drone.
Oh, but I meant, can you integrate the
Well, that's what I'm
those
saying.
goggles?
I'd have to plug goggles into the iPad.
Ooh.
And then see that. You're dealing with a lot of signal transmission, but people do it. So
That's cool.
yeah, I probably could.
Yeah.
And
And I also
could probably
thought,
do it. I could probably do it with yours right away because of Google Cardboard and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just need the video input to come in. So,
Oh, wait, and Apple's got the augmented reality now.
well, yeah, and that would be really cool to play with. But one more thing, the DJI radios, they
Yeah.
have HDMI out on the radios.
Ooh, so you could just hook that those little goggles right in.
Yeah, straight into the radio.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I should hook up with him again because I could probably hook his goggles up into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then, and you did, God, so what was it like flying that? Because it seemed like you had a little more trouble than you did with your DJI.
Yeah, well, they don't. The DJI just floats like a school bus, man. I mean, it's super easy to fly. Like
Yeah.
I tell people to learn on a smaller drone, so
Yeah.
they understand the controls and they don't break the big one. But quite frankly, that DJI Inspire is like driving a tank. I mean, it can be fast if you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
but it's so stable, Whereas the little ones, the smaller you get, the harder they are to fly because
Yeah.
they're just so like a small
Twitchy?
correction makes a huge mistake, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with kite flying, actually.
Oh.
When I was growing up, and still now,
Yeah.
we always had like these stunt kites, control line stunt kites.
Yeah.
And the big ones, I always wanted really big ones, and I've got
Yeah.
some pretty good sized ones. I've got like a 3 meter wide
Yeah.
parafoil one that's got like 4 lines,
Yeah.
and that's really cool. And I always thought that, when my wife wanted to try to get into it, I was like, well, let's get you a small one. So it's not because she didn't want it to pull as hard because it's a workout trying because that thing is
Yeah.
just pulling in the wind. And she'd be like, well, let's get you a small one so it's not pulling as hard. It'd be easier to learn on. No, not true at all. Because the thing flies around like a little freaking hummingbird. It's just flipping around all over the place, and it's impossible to control.
So she didn't have that much fun?
Yeah, she actually got decent at it later.
Oh.
Yeah, because you get those little parafoil ones. You can't
Yeah.
really break them. They don't have any support structures, so you just smash them into the ground and take off again. But the drone,
Yeah.
and this is good to know for people like trying to work with them and stuff.
Yeah.
The drone, this one was all weight. Like it was really being held up by the props quite a bit.
Yeah.
Even though it was light, it had really tiny propellers.
Yeah.
So it needed constant thrust just to keep it in the air, just to keep it moving. It wouldn't like just sit there and hover.
Oh.
Like the Inspire will just sit there and hover
Yeah.
rock solid till the battery dies, and then it'll land itself. But this has no GPS stabilization, no anything, and it's probably not tuned very well. I mean, he actually had a prop with some missing
Yeah, I
pieces
saw that.
on it, and but that wasn't part of it. But they just require a lot more focus and concentration. So I was able to fly it a little bit, and probably with just a little bit more practice could be fairly decent at it because I understand the controls.
Because I was envisioning like a crew chief just throwing it in his bag and just like flying it around the site.
Well, the nice thing is that's totally possible, and I'm thinking down the road with kinetically charging batteries and stuff like that because we're always walking, and having something that can do kinetic charging or just like a 30,000 milliamp battery can charge up one of those tiny little drone batteries in 10 minutes.
Or just like do what other field techs do and just put the solar panel on your backpack to catch it.
Yeah, you could probably do that too. You know, solar charge is a little slower, but
it
depends on how many sites you want to go to. But if you want to just have a quick bird's eye view of the site,
that's what I mean.
Just throw it up in the air.
Yeah. Because
totally.
that dude had like 3 drones in that backpack. They were all like,
know.
I mean, it's crazy how tiny they were. And an electric bicycle.
the problem just comes down into skill set. You would then need crew chiefs or drone technicians on your project. It doesn't have to be a crew chief.
Yeah.
You can have drone technician certified people. Man, that is a new thing. Let's make that.
Ooh.
But those people would have to really be into it.
Yeah.
It's not like knowing how to record historics. I mean, you study for that, right?
Yeah.
But for this, you would not only have to know how to fly, you'd have to get your license first off.
Yeah.
So that's not a big deal though. But you have to know how to fly, but more importantly than that, you have to know how to. I guess secondary, you have to know how to get the right shots as soon as possible and analyze what you're seeing on the fly because you're probably not going to record the video. You might record the video, but you're probably just using it for a bird's eye view. So you need to be able to interpret what you're seeing and relate that to somebody in an intelligible way fast, right?
Oh
because
my
the
God.
battery's only going to be good for a few minutes. But hold on. The other thing you need to be able to do is maintenance. Most of these small drones are like home-built kind of things. You don't just buy them off the shelf. And you need to be able to take that back or do it in the field and fix and repair these things on the fly.
Oh, kind of like if you were in the military.
Yeah, I mean, exactly like that. You have to be totally autonomous. And when you get back to the office, you're going to have some time doing some maintenance, cleaning the dust out, making sure you got extra props and stuff and keeping them going.
Oh, my God. It was interesting. I probably told you this before, but I'll tell it on the podcast. I ran into someone who was doing, job is basically to do drones. And he was calling it, Section 107 survey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know what that is.
It's not Section 107.
Oh.
That's a misnomer.
Oh.
So, yeah, because what are they referring to? Section what? What he means is a Part 107 survey.
Ah.
Part 107 is the part of the federal regulations, federal aviation regulations,
Yeah.
Part 107, that gets you your license. Like for example, Part 61, I think it is for private pilots, basically people that just fly on their own. And then I think it's Part 91 is commercial pilots.
Yeah.
And then there's other parts.
Yeah.
That's not Part 91. It's like Part 130 something. I don't remember, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then Part 107 is for drone pilots.
Oh.
So that's what he probably meant.
Because he's basically making topographic maps for on mines and stuff. I thought that was super cool.
Nice. Yeah. That's a cheaper way to do it these days rather than getting a real plane up there.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, well, you got a real plane, a real pilot, and everything, and big equipment.
Interesting.
That's how people did it in the past.
Interesting. You ever thought of selling yourself out to do that?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun early on, but I don't want to do it for a living.
Yeah.
I got other things I want to do.
True.
I mean, I think it'd be cool. It'd be interesting, and it'd be something I would want to offer as a service that my company does.
Yeah.
I would need somebody else to fly the drone, but I think it's definitely something that could be done.
Wait, how'd that movie thing go?
Haven't done it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No, that's in a couple weeks.
Oh.
So we'll talk about that in probably 2 weeks.
All right.
Because in 2 weeks, next week will be another regular week, but in 2 weeks, our episode 10,
Yeah.
I'll probably still be in Los Angeles for podcast Movement, which is a big podcast conference. I've never been to a podcast conference before.
Really?
And and then I'll have done some shooting for a motion feature film, I guess. Hollywood
Neat.
feature film. Yeah.
Oh, don't forget, we've also skipped our second break.
Oh yeah. So let me say real quick.
Yeah.
Let me show the thing. Just a thing here. Just for on the
Yeah.
back here. You can't even read it, so I won't show it again. arcpodnet.com/members if you're not a member.
True.
This card and these stickers, I'll send you one if you're a standard member.
Yeah.
If you're a supporting member, you get just a sticker, $5 a month, and I'll send you a card and a sticker. So
See?
do that. It's $3. Helps us out a little bit.
Yeah.
Keeps these lights on, although we'd rather these lights were off.
Yeah.
But
And you don't necessarily